Hey Elge, my name's Phil Hudson, and I'm not really into the whole workout subculture. A lot of the lingo that you use I'm not familiar with, and I have a friend that's really into working out. He's a personal trainer, and he sent me one of your videos and said, you gotta check this guy out. And so I watched a couple of your videos, and I decided to make this video in response to you as a person. As you saw in my opening, you're kind of like, you have this like cold, sardonic wit where you just like stare monotonely at the camera with vacant eyes, and you make little clever remarks that are sort of like dark, which reminds me of the hit TV show Daria from MTV a while back. I'm 30 years old, so I remember that show. The reason you remind me of Daria is because I imagine this. I could be totally mistaken, but this is just the impression I got from you. You were like, you're probably sort of an awkward kid in high school, and I was too. I was actually not really an awkward kid. I was just sort of a lunatic. Like I'm still a lunatic. And you probably got picked on. You probably had a modicum of intelligence, but instead of using that intelligence to sort of become a learned person interested in philosophy and history and politics, you probably, I heard from some person that you're a lawyer. I'm not sure if that's true, but you had a video where you were making fun of this guy who had probably an 85 IQ, and he said that you're some hotshot lawyer, or perhaps a hotshot lawyer. If that's true, then I would find it strange that as a successful lawyer who can, I mean, anyone who's going to spend that much time has a chip on their shoulder where they want to succeed, and there's nothing wrong with having a chip on your shoulder. We've inherited a sense of a need to prove ourselves from evolution, because that motivates us to produce more and, you know, to become alpha males and then get women. But if you're already a lawyer, you don't need to like obsess over your body, because you've already proven yourself valuable to women, and a woman that's not very smart will sleep with you because you're rich, or because you're a lawyer, and you could probably convince some woman who's also obsessed with herself that, you know, you're worthwhile for the gifts she has. But instead you've chosen to obsess about your body, and not only that, but you spend a lot of time criticizing other people that are obsessed with their bodies. And I find that very, and combine that with the sort of cold Daria-esque clever little, well, pseudo-clever wit you have, I would manage to guess that your inner soul is probably a terrible, terrible wasteland, and you're a borderline sociopath. But maybe you'll grow out of it. Maybe you'll find a woman and have a family and realize that the world doesn't revolve around you. But as of now, you're scary. You're probably not physically dangerous to people, but you're scary in the sense of you probably have so much shit going on where you a lack of self-worth that you need to do these things, that you're probably very difficult to get along with and rely on in a long-term relationship. And a lot of men go through this, especially in today's age, but me finding a good woman sort of changed my whole emotional perspective. And I think maybe you could benefit from that as well. Here, let me go back to my psychological analysis of you, even though I've only watched a couple of your videos, and this could be completely off the mark. But I imagine you were an awkward kid in high school that got good grades, but also didn't do well socially, and so you harbored resentment from that and anger. And now that you've, you know, just like the typical nerd stereotype, you became successful and acquired money and you feel good. It's like a kid that's like is fat, gets picked on, and then gets into martial arts, and he wants to kick everybody's ass. You're sort of doing that, but instead of like picking a practical sport that can actually make you an effective warrior and might, you know, help you defend your family, you've chosen to obsess over your body, which would make you, you know, appealing to women. But since women tend to be less practical and tend to buy into, like, you know, like marketing. Like, look at the beauty industry. The beauty industry is like anti-aging, all these little buzzwords. women buy into that because they're not very practical and they have trouble seeing reality. Women have evolved to be appealing to men as playthings, and men have evolved to defend the tribe and to take on threats. You have adopted the female mindset because women have an image of what's appealing, even though they don't have the ability to actually perceive what's practical. Like a woman will look at Fabio and think Fabio is the ultimate man, but in real life, Fabio is only has power because women find him appealing. In a real situation, Fabio would not be. I mean, presumably, he could be some kind of rare genius, but most likely he's just a pretty boy. He wouldn't be effective in politics, and he probably wouldn't do well in the crucible at the end of Marine Corps boot camp. So, obsessing about your body is sort of adopting a female perspective on the world in order to try to demonstrate your worth. It's not actually beneficial outside of perception, and I think that's basically describes you as a human. So, no amount of making fun of people with 85 IQs that just spend all their time working out is going to validate the deep hole or solve the resentment. There's not whatever you're harboring in your heart that makes you want to punish the world, and I can relate to this as well. I mean, I have a bone to pick with a lot of people as well, and society in general. But you're not going to find it by obsessing over your body or making fun of people that are dumb. I think what you should do is find a good woman and learn about history and philosophy. There's a lot of exciting, great questions. For instance, is mathematics discovered by human beings, or is it invented by human beings? Is math fundamental to reality, or is it just a tool that human beings have developed? Because it's hard for me to imagine a world where 2 plus 2 does not equal 4. That seems like a necessary thing that's just a priori known to consciousness. But it could be the case that that's just an effective tool that man has developed to make sense of the physical world. But I tend to lean on the side that mathematics is somehow necessary, and necessary in philosophy means no matter what it exists, math has to be the way it is. There's no possible world in which 2 plus 2 does not equal 4. Or how about this, another exciting question that doesn't have to do with working out and looking at yourself in the mirror. Is religion an instinct developed by natural selection to promote in-group cooperation among Homo sapiens, or is there a supernatural reality that actually exists and can be known? That's a deep question. Let's think of something else that doesn't involve looking at yourself in the mirror. Even something that can be simple, like is pop music good music, or is it trash? Is there some kind of objective standard of music that you can use to judge whether music is good or bad, or is it all subjective? If music has some kind of benefit intellectually, or maybe natural selection has helped us develop music for some reason, perhaps like a lot in religion, music is used a lot to whip someone up into a sort of a frenzy where you commune better with the group. Maybe music has something to do with that. Or maybe music is somehow a spiritual connection that we have, that we can transcend the physical and attune with the spiritual. Maybe music is somehow related to that. Who knows? These are deep questions. Think about these things and stop looking at yourself in the mirror and stop making fun of dumb people. Because who you spend your time thinking about and what you spend your time doing says a lot about who you are. And if you're spending your time criticizing people as dumb, the same people that spend all their time doing the same thing you do, then maybe you should turn that finger around and point it at yourself. So, you annoyed me enough for me to make this video, and this is the first video I've made as a personal attack against a person. But I was bored, and I'm moving to Oregon soon, so I'm not working today, so welcome to Phil Hudson.